Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Yoga with Alicia. I'm Alicia and this video is yoga to occupy the mind. If you're feeling lonely, bored, heartbroken, or just need something to do that is good for your spirit, soul, you as a human being, then practice yoga. Divert the mind from the outer world and bring it to the inner self. Grow strong, flexible, supple, and keep the mind occupied in a healthy and happy way. No force is necessary. Do what you can to a point of comfort at all times. Don't allow the ego to overrule and make you go further than you're capable at any given time in your practice. Move slowly and with observations of the self, and avoid frustration if you can't do something. Frustration is just a block, an obstruction. Stay happy about your practice, knowing that it's going to bring you to a better level of health, happiness and peace of mind. Yoga is a journey and it's something to be enjoyed. Start by being relaxed. Get rid of the tensions of the day, just let them go. They are in the past now. And tension starts in the mind, so relax the mind. Ready? Bring yourself to your mat in a standing position. Tadasana. Place your feet firmly on the ground. Plant them. Get grounded. And then rise up with the flesh, lifting, elevating from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. Feel as if there's a golden thread from the crown of your head and it's lifting you up higher, pulling you upright, getting you aligned, your skeletal frame nice and straight. So rather than being slumped or sticking your bottom and your chest out and having a concave spine with the stomach muscles relaxed, tilt the pelvis, get it put in a nice straight position, and then work from there. Head over shoulders, head and shoulders over hips. Relax, let your arms hang loose by the sides of your body. Let your shoulders drop down and away from your ears. And connect with your flow of breath. See if you can make your breath in a bit longer. See if your breath out, you can take some more time over it, making it longer too. Have this moment to tune in. Breathe in and allow the arms to raise up. Breathe out and let the arms lower. Breathe in and have the arms lift up, and as the arms lift up, feel this rising, this elevation through the torso. Keep that elevation through the torso even as you breathe out and your arms lower. Go again. Breathe in, see if you can take the arms right up. With the shoulders relaxed, avoid bringing them up towards the ears. Let them drop down away from the head and the ears. And keep the elevation, that feeling of lift, even as the arms come down as you breathe out. Give yourself a shake. Shake it all up. Let's go into a forward flexion of the spine. And for this, the forward flexion of the spine, the origin of the position comes from the hips, so you're going to be hinging over at the hips. Avoid using this joint that is about 3/4 of the way up the spine. That makes you round your shoulders. That's not where the forward bend happens. The forward bend happens from the hips. You've got your hip joint here, your femur bone. At the top there's a knuckly bit, and the hip sits on top of it. As you breathe in, you can lift the hip so that when you hinge forward, there's space for movement. So from Tadasana, mountain posture, hands on hips. If your hands are up here, they're in your waist. Bring them down to rest on the hips, and you can use your thumbs to press on the innominate bone, which is this back part of your pelvic girdle, and you'll be able to use gentle pressure to help you hinge forward. Now you want to keep lifting up through the legs as well, and your legs are going to feel a stretch as you bend forward, so ensure that all of the legs are being used. Shins, calves, knees, upper thighs, hamstrings. Engage the whole legs, all of the legs to work for you. Take a breath in and think of pulling up pubis to navel, navel to breastbone, breastbone to crown of head. It's like a zipper going all the way up, and you've got this beautiful feeling of rising up to create space. And as you begin the hinge forward, get your elbows out, align them with the sides of your body, and pull your stomach in. If you allow your stomach muscles to collapse, your spine is going to have to do all the work, and that's what weakens the spine, if it has to keep doing all the strong lifting and bending. But if you engage the stomach and grip those stomach muscles around the spine, then it's supported and all can grow strong. So as you hinge forward, you're beginning to feel the stretch on the legs, ensuring that all parts of the legs are working, engaged, active. Your elbows are out in line with the sides of the trunk of your body, and you get to halfway and you have a lovely flat back. You should be able to rest a teacup and saucer on it without spilling anything. You should be looking directly at the mat beneath you so that the upper neck becomes level and is a natural extension of your spine. Another breath in and you create more space, pulling up pubis to navel. Lift the tummy internally. Exhale, continue hinging forward. You'll get to the point where you'll be able to drop your hands down. Now, if you're not at that point just yet, then rest your hands on your shins or on your thighs. Avoid resting on your knees. You don't want to put any pressure onto the knee joints. So your hands can be on your thighs or down on your shins. You can even capture around the ankles. If your fingertips are on the floor, that's great. Another check to have is, are you pushing your buttocks to the wall behind you? If so, bring your buttocks forward so that they are over the ankles and the heels of your feet. And then you'll notice that the fingertips get further and closer towards the mat. And if the fingertips are on the mat, you might even find that the heels of the hands can come down. The head is the heaviest part of the body, so allow it to hang down. It will help passively elongate your torso. And then let the breath flow. Check that your jawline is relaxed and your teeth are unclenched. Now acknowledge that your head is beneath your heart. So your heart is in a restorative position and it's easier able to pump oxygen around your body, and your head and brain are getting an extra rich supply. Now, if you need to, have a micro bend in the knees. If the legs begin to shake, that's your nervous system telling you that you are going too far. So you just want to ease back a little bit. Remember to continue to listen to all the subtle communications happening between body and mind.
yoga is. It is the joining of mind and body, bringing them into harmony. Now, in this forward bend position, you should be able to wiggle your toes. You don't want to press your toes into the mat. They need to remain soft. Now, there are two ways of coming out of the position. You could walk the hands up the legs as you pull the tummy in, and as you keep the chin on the chest, as you restack the bones of your spine until the shoulders are over the hips, and then the head can come upright. And don't worry about your clothes or your hair for a moment. Just allow the new levels of oxygen to settle. And then you can right yourself. So that's one way of coming up. The other way, if you feel that your stomach is strong enough to support your spine, you can bring your hands out in line with your shoulders, pull the stomach in, the belly button toward the base of the spine, and come up with a nice straight spine, nice and strong. And then again, relax, don't worry about your hair or your clothes for a moment. And then you can right yourself. So that's forward flexion of the spine. Amazing for allowing fresh, rich, oxygenated blood to the brain, and a full-on stretch through the legs, complete. But lower legs, upper legs, front, back, and getting the knees lively and activated and lifting. Now let's do a backward flexion of the spine, just as enriching for the strength and suppleness that you'd love to have for your spinal cord. Again, you start into Tadasana, which is about creating space, lifting up, feeling elevated, getting your alignment closer toward perfection than you usually would have. Soften the shoulders down and away from the ears. Have that tilt of the pelvis yet again, so you've not got your chest dropping forward and your stomach dropping forward and your bottom sticking out. Those days are gone. You've got this lovely tilt. And as you tilt the pelvis, the stomach just wants to pull in and engage with the spine. It wants to be the support framework that nature intended it to be. You're going to breathe in and you're going to take the hands up over your head. And then as you exhale, you're going to relax the shoulders away from the ears. So there's no more of this. Don't just reach and pull up from this upper body. This part's all relaxed. It's here that is lifting and creating the space. And then as you exhale, you can widen the arms very slightly. So the hands come into a wide position. And you're going to push the hips and the buttocks and the thighs forward. And you're going to draw up through the torso. And you're going to raise the chin and the eyes upwards. Hold the breath. And then let the breath out as you straighten up and lower your arms. Let's go again. Breathe in, raise the hands up, relax the shoulders away from the ears, unclench your teeth, and allow the skin on your face to be nice and soft. Breathe in, pull up pelvis to navel. Remember that zip that comes all the way up. Allow that to rise. Feel the upward energy so that you're creating space, so that when you breathe out, you can push your hips forward, your thighs forward, and you can continue to rise up through the trunk of the body. Lift this skin at the base of the back. Lift the spinal cord right from the coccyx. Start elevating, creating space, so that when you push the thighs and the hips forward, and you begin to rise up toward the fingertips, you can then bend backward. Hold the breath. And then pour the stomach in as you restack the bones of the spine, and then you allow the arms to soften and relax down. backward flexion. Now, if you get to this point and you start bending back and you feel pinching in the base of your spine, that is because you've collapsed into the posture, rather than continually lifting, reaching, elevating. So, as you go back, think of continually rising up and creating space so that you can settle into the position and go way back. And you'll always pull the stomach in to support the spine as you return to your standing Tadasana, mountain pose. So, forward flexion of the spine, backward flexion of the spine. How about lateral flexion of the spine, side to side? So you want to stand comfortably in Tadasana, mountain pose, with your feet slightly parted. You're going to still have that lovely elevation up through the legs. The knees are lively, active and lifting. Your quadriceps, the biggest muscle group of the body, the four muscles here in your upper legs, they're lifting up. Breathe in, raise the arms up over the head. Now allow one wrist, one set of fingers to connect around the opposite wrist. So if you're going to lean to the left, have your right hand around your left wrist. Keep the shoulders away from the ears and rather take the mind down into the hip area and the waist area and lift it all. Get the flesh, front, sides and back of body rising up to the upper thorax. Nice deep breath in, create more space. And as you exhale, push the hips to the left and begin to stretch laterally to the right. Taking your time to do so, because if your ego makes you go too far too soon, there's every possibility that you're going to be dropping one shoulder forward and you're going to be collapsing down in the trunk of the body, the rib cage collapsing into the stomach. And you want to avoid this. You want to keep the alignment. It's almost as if you're pinned between two panes of glass so that the shoulders are stacked above each other and the shoulders are aligned with the hips. That means your spinal cord is correctly positioned and working as nature intended. And each breath in can create more space, and each breath out can help you surrender. Unclench your teeth, unfurrow your brow, relax your toes. Your toes should not be gripping into the mat. And as you come up, again, you engage those stomach muscles because they're supporting the spine. They are helping the spine to do its work, and they develop strength, which then flows on and continues into the spinal cord. And so your core is enriched and develops a great strength. Let's go on the other side. Breathe in, raise the arms up. Connect the left fingers around the right wrist. Another breath in, and you're going to elevate. You're going to breathe out and relax those shoulders away from the ears, whilst still retaining the lift that you've already created. A nice breath in to bring about more space, and then as you exhale, you'll push the hips to the right, and you'll lean to the left. Again, acknowledging that you're in this wonderful space between two panes of glass, possibly, and that your shoulders are stacked above each other, and that both shoulders are aligned with the hips. You may find that it's even helpful to do this position against the wall, because if your shoulders are connected to the wall, you know they are aligned. And you'll really feel the proper nutrients of the stretch. And then to return to the central position, stomach pulls in, Spine is supported, and you rise up with your space even as you lower the hands down. So you've got forward flexion of the spine, backward flexion of the spine, lateral flexion of the spine. And now let's twist the spine. Again, fortuitous, mountain pose. Relax your upper body, but keep the lift that you've created throughout the torso, within and without the legs, front, back, upper, lower. Nice and slowly, you're going to extend the left hand forward and the right hand behind you, and you're going to keep the hips, both hips, facing the wall in front of you. So you may find that you need to bring your left hip forward a little, take your right hip back, and check on the arms. Is your front arm, the left arm, right up in the air, and your right arm is down? You want to get them both at the same level, and if that means lowering the front arm and raising the back arm, then so be it. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. If you're like this, you're holding a lot of tension, a lot of tightness that actually does not need to be there. A breath in, and when you go, you sigh it out, and you unravel and undo the tension. Keep the breath flowing. Now gently the hands can lower down beside each hip, and the hips stay exactly where they are, and then the hands change. Right hand up at the front, left hand up at the back. Check and see that they're quite level. If you're like this, how about lowering the front hand, raising the back hand? How about lowering the shoulders, both of them together? How about softening the toes? Have the toes started to grip into the mat again? They should be soft, you should be able to wiggle them. Keep checking in on the breathing. Concentration may make you stop the breath flowing, but you want to avoid that. The breath has to be flowing at all times, because the breath is carrying oxygen, which is nourishing and feeding you, keeping you vital, healthy, alive. Let the hands drop down. So now bring both hands forward in front of you to an exhalation, 180 degrees with the right hand, take it behind you. Nice deep inhalation, create space. As you exhale, bring the left hand to 45 degrees, and now take your head and neck to look out at the right hand, the fingertips. Push your right hip forward. Avoid allowing everything to turn. This is the spine twisting, so the hips need to remain facing forward. And remember, no judgment at the beginning. If you can't get this far, that's fine. You might be to here, but at least you've started the process. And it's only through patience, practice and perseverance that you will attain full mobility and suppleness of the body, that which you were born with, that which nature intended. Now you can bring the left hand to return in front of you, and the right hand comes round, and then a breath in, create space, and then swish that left hand 180 degrees behind you. Keep that left hip forward. Another inhalation as you pull up pubis to navel, and you create more space, and then take that right hand 45 degrees, and then the head and the neck can turn and look out over the left shoulder. And relax those shoulders away from the ears, and unclench your teeth, and relax your toes, and breathe. And then the right hand returns in front of you, the left hand comes round to meet it, and you relax the arms down, and you give yourself a shake.
And you've made all movement with the spine there. Backward flexion, forward flexion, lateral flexion, and twisting. Simple yoga to occupy the mind. Next time you're feeling a little bored, lonely, heartbroken, or just want something to do for a positive influence on your mind and your body, then tune into yoga. Tune into the self. Namaste.